we're going to go over our practice test for multiplication of whole numbers and decimals. So number 1 says which expression has a product of 1 and 21/100ths. So we could work all of these out, but Ms. Bridges likes to work smarter, not harder. So I can count and see that there are 2 decimal places. Well, if I count here, that's 1, 2, 3 decimal places. This one is 2 decimal places. This one is 0. This one is 1, 2, 3. So this is the only one that has 2 decimal places. That has to be the correct answer. A gumbo recipe calls for 2 7/75 pounds of shrimp. William wants to make 3 batches of gumbo. How many pounds of shrimp does he need? So we're going to multiply 2 7/75 times 3. We do not line up the decimals. We're actually going to pretend that says 275 times 3. So 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 7 is 21, plus 1 more is 22. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 more is 8. I have 2 decimal places in both of my factors. I put 2 decimal places in my product. He needs 8 2/25 pounds of shrimp. Number 3, Twee has 3 5/10 package of Takis. Each full bag weighs 6 3/34 ounces. How many ounces of Takis does Twee have in all? So we're going to multiply 3.5 by 6 3/34. We can put either one of these on the top. Well, I'm going to put the one on the top that has the most digits. So the one on the bottom has the fewest digits, so I have the fewest partial products. So 6 3/34 times 3 5/10. I'm going to ignore my decimals. I'm going to pretend that says 634 times 35. So 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 2 more is 17. 5 times 6 is 30, plus 1 more is 31. I scoot over to my tens digit, so I put a 0 as a placeholder. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 more is 10. 3 times 6 is 18, plus 1 more is 19. I add my partial products. This is 0, 9, 1, 12, and 2. I have 1, 2, 3 decimal places in my factors. So I have 1, 2, 3 decimal places in my answer. And this answer actually goes up here. I just ran out of room. Alright, number 4. Beth and 3 of her friends order a fancy ice cream sundae and they each cost $3.28. What would their total bill be before tax? So if it's Beth, that's one person, and 3 friends, that is 4 people that are going to order shakes. And each of those shakes cost $3.28. So we are multiplying $3.28 by 4. Or 328 by 4 because we're going to ignore the decimal. 4 times 8 is 32. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 3 more is 11. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 more is 13. 2 decimal places in my factors, 2 in my answer. $13.12. Number 5, Mr. Kermy needs to buy new flooring for his living room, so he needs to find the area of his living room. The length of the room is 8.2 meters and the width is 4.6 meters. What is the area of his living room floor? Use the formula area equals length times width. Since area equals length times width, I'm going to multiply the length, 8.2, times the width, 6.4, or 82 times 46. 2, 46. Yes, they have decimal places, but we're going to ignore them. 2 times 6 is 12. 6 times 8 is 48, plus 1 more is 49. I scoot over to my tens digit, so I put a 0 as a placeholder. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 8 is 32. I really need bigger paper. I add my partial products. That's 2, 17, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 3. I have 1, 2 decimal places in my factors. I have 1, 2 decimal places in my answer. So his area is 37 and 72 hundredths. That answer goes up there. Sammy needs 2 8/10 fabric to make scrunchies. The fabric costs $2.23 per yard. How much money will Sammy need to spend on buying the fabric for her scrunchies before tax? So I'm going to try a little trick here that I see my students do sometimes. I'm going to turn my paper this way to multiply 2 23 hundredths times 2.8. I'm going to ignore the decimals and I'm going to pretend that's 223 times 28. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 2 more is 18. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 1 more is 17. I scoot over to my tens place, so I put a 0 as a placeholder. 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 2 is 4, and 2 times 2 is 4. I add my partial products. 4, 14, 9, 10, 11, 12, yeah, it's 14. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 4, 5, 6. I have 1, 2, 3 decimal places in my factors, so I have 1, 2, 3 decimal places in my product. Now, since the question says, how much money will Sammy spend? Well, this is where my decimal goes, but in real life, we know money doesn't go past the hundredths column. So in real life, when you're spending something and it comes out to be this answer, they round it. So they would round it to the nearest hundredths place, so it would be $6.24. All right, number 7. Miss Gertrude went to the store to buy her 4 grandchildren new jackets for the winter. Each jacket costs $45.75. How much would Mrs. Gertrude spend on jackets for all of her grandchildren before tax? So we have $45.75 times 4. We're going to ignore the decimal and pretend it's 4,575 times 4. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 7 is 28, plus 2 more is 30. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 3 more is 23. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 2 more is 18. 2 decimal places in our factors, 2 in our answer. So that is $183, which there is no correct answer that says $183. So this was a typo. So we're going to just say our answer is $183. This mistake should not be on your test, but there was a mistake obviously on the practice test. Moving on to number 8. James' dad stopped to get fuel before dropping him off at school. He purchased 10 gallons of fuel at $2.18 per gallon, tax included. How much did his fuel purchase total? So we're going to multiply $2.18 times 10. Now, I could work this out and do $2.18 times 10. However, I like to work smarter, not harder. And I already know how to multiply by powers of 10. My decimal moves one place to the right, so it's $21.80. Saved myself a little bit of work there. If it rained on average of 1700 millimeters a month in Phoenix, Arizona, what would the total be after 12 months? So we're going to multiply 1700 times 12. We're going to ignore the decimal and pretend it's just 17 times 12. 2 times 7 is 14. 2 times 1 is 2. Plus 1 more is 3. We put a 0 when we scoot over to our tens digit. 1 times 7 is 7, and 1 times 1 is 1. We add our partial products. 4, 10, 2. There are 2 decimal places in our answer, so there should be 2 in our product. Now, I could have worked smarter, not harder on that one, but I forgot. I had 2 decimal places in my factors. This had 3 decimal places, 1 decimal place, 2 decimal places, and 1 decimal place. So this was the only one it could have been because I had the right number of decimal places. Alright, Leroy needs some school supplies. He will buy 5 notebooks for $1.50 each, 2 dozen pencils at $2.45 a dozen, and a box of pens for $4.99 a box. How much will Leroy spend exactly? This is a multiple step problem. First, 5 notebooks at $1.50 each. That means I'm going to multiply $1.50 times 5. $1.50 times 5. I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to pretend like it's 150 times 5. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 more is 7. I have 2 decimal places in my factors, so I put 2 in my answer. This is for notebooks, so I'm going to put NB next to that for notebooks. Next it says he buys 2 dozen pencils at $2.45 each. A lot of kids get confused because they're thinking they have to multiply a dozen times 2. It's like when you buy pencils, they come in a box or in a bag, and there's a dozen in it. For example, here we go. Good example. Here's a box of pencils. There's a dozen in here. I'm not going to pay, what is it, $2.45. I'm not going to pay $2.45 for every single pencil in this box. I'm going to pay $2.45 for the whole box. It's not like this is $2.45, this is $2.45, this is $2. No. All 12 of these, the whole box, if I can get them back in this box, is $2.45. Put it back in this box here. Okay. So this whole box is $2.45, but I'm not buying just one box. I'm buying 2 boxes. Instead of using the word box, though, they used a dozen because there's a dozen pencils in the box. All right, so we're going to multiply $2.45 times 2. We're going to ignore the decimal. 2 times 5 is 10, 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 more is 9, and 2 times 2 is 4. There are 2 decimal places in my factors, so there's 2 in my answers. So $4.90 for pencils. Now, we bought notebooks, pencils, and a box of pens. So my last step is to take the notebooks, $7.50, the pencils, $4.90, and the pens, $4.99, and add them all together. So that's 9, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 8 and 2 is 10, plus 7 more is 17. Now I'm adding. So when I add, my decimals get lined up and they go straight down. So I will have spent $17.39. Number 11 says, solve the following using the standard algorithm. Show all your work on scratch paper. Be sure to check and make sure your answer is reasonable. Notice we do not have any decimals. So this is just multiplying whole numbers. I'm going to turn my paper this way so that I have more room. 902 times 43. 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 0 is 0, and 3 times 9 is 27. I scoot over to my tens digit, so I put a 0 as a placeholder. 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 0 is 0, and 4 times 9 is 36, and I still ran into my words. I add our partial products, 6, 8, 7, 8, and that's a 3. So 38,786. Number 12, a bookstore has 325 shelves for books. Each shelf can hold 84 books. How many books will the shelves hold in all? So we're going to multiply 325 times 84. So I'm going to turn my paper and hopefully not mess up this time. 325 times 84. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 more is 10. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 more is 13. I scoot over to my tens digit, so I put a 0 down as a placeholder. 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 4 more is 20. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 2 more is 26. We add our partial product, so that's 0, 0, 3, 7, 2. 27,300. Number 12, which expressions are equivalent to 376 times 84? Notice it says expressions with an S. That means there's going to be more than one correct answer. So remember, we did a worksheet, we did like 10 problems, maybe even more than that, where it was all this distributive property. And we take these numbers and we break them up by their place values. So this is a 3, but it's in the hundreds place. So it's worth 300. Well, this isn't 300. That's a 3. This is 300, 376, so that could be a correct answer. This did not use 300, they used a 3, so that's not correct. This used 300 and this used 300. All right, so far we have C, B, and D that could possibly be correct answers. This 7 is in the tens place, so that's worth 70. That's still 70 because it's a 7 in the tens place. We have 70 here. We have 70 here. So far, all three could be answers. Now we have a 6 in the ones place, which is worth 6. So we have a 6 in the ones place here. We have 6 ones and 6 ones. Still, all three could be the same correct answer. We have 8 in the tens place, so that's worth 80. Well, this 8 is not saying 80, it's only saying 8, so that is not a correct answer. This is saying 80, and this is saying 80, so they did that one correct. And then finally, we have a 4 in the ones place, so that's 4. They're multiplying it by 4 and 4 here. So B and D were the 2 correct answers on that one. Number 14, Tiffany can drive an average of 315 miles on 1 tank of gas. How many miles can she drive on 14 tanks of gas? So they want us to multiply 315 times 14. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 more is 6. 4 times 3 is 12. We scoot over to our tens place, so we put a 0 down as a placeholder. 1 times 5 is 5, 1 times 1 is 1, and 1 times 3 is 3. We add our partial products, 0, 11, 2, 3, 4, and 4. 4,410. Moving on to the back. Solve the following problem using the standard algorithm. Show all of your work on scratch paper. Be sure to check to make sure your answer is reasonable. So I caught a mistake when I worked that out. It's been edited out of the video, but we're going to work this out correctly now. 354 times 84. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 1 more is 21. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 more is 14. Scoot over to our tens digit, we put a 0 down as a placeholder. 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 5 is 40, plus 3 more is 43. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 4 more is 28. We add our partial products. 6, 3, 7, 9, 2. 29,736. Number 16, solve the following using the standard algorithm showing all of your work on scratch paper. Be sure to check to make sure your answer is reasonable. The product means multiply, of 293 and 27 is. So we're going to multiply 293 and 27. 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times 9 is 63, plus 2 more is 65. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 6 more is 20. We scoot over to our tens digit, so we put a 0. 3 times 2 is 6, 2 times 9 is 18, 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 more is 5. We add our partial products. 1, 11, 9, 7. 7,911. Mrs. Stevens purchased 400 sheets of stickers. Each sheet had 50 stickers. Each means multiply. If she needs 25,000 stickers, would she have purchased enough stickers? Explain your answer. Well, first we need to figure out how much she has purchased. So we need to multiply 400 times 50. 400 times 50. 0 times 0 times 0 times 0, those are all zeros. We scoot over to our tens digit, so we put down a 0. 5 times 0 is 0, 5 times 0 is 0, and 5 times 4 is 20. We add our partial products to see that she bought 20,000 stickers. So, would she have purchased enough if she wants 25,000? No. She needs 5,000 more stickers. She only bought 20,000 and she needs 25,000, so she did not buy enough. Number 18 has 2 parts. The Beta Club at Harper McCon is wanting to raise money for the Long Beach Food Pantry. They have decided to sell gift cards to a local business. If they sell 365 gift cards at $18 each, how much money would they raise? That's the first question. So we have each. We're going to multiply 365 times 18. 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 6 is 48, plus 4 more is 52. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 5 more is 29. We scoot over to our tens digit, so we put down a 0. 1 times 5 is 5, 1 times 6 is 6, and 1 times 3 is 3. We add our partial products. 0, 7, 15, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6,570 is how much money they raised. Part B says, if their goal was to raise 5,500, did they meet their goal? Yes, they met their goal. They wanted to raise 5,500, so they actually raised $1,070 more than that. Number 19. During the 2017 football season, a quarterback passed for 375 yards per game. He played 15 of the games during the season. What is his total for passing yards? So they want us to multiply 375 times 15. I'm going to turn my paper this way, so hopefully I have enough room. Oh, the year here, 2017, that is to throw you off. That's the year. I don't care about the year. I don't care if you did it in 2017 or 1975. It doesn't matter. I want to multiply 375 yards by his 15 games that he played in. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 7 is 35, plus 2 more is 37. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 3 more is 18. Put a 0 down for our placeholder since we're going to our tens digit. 1 times 5 is 5, 1 times 7 is 7, and 1 times 3 is 3. We add our partial products. 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 8, 9, 16, 3, 4, 5. So he passed for 5,625 yards. And our final question, solve the following using the standard algorithm. Show all your work. 321 times 26. 321 times 26. 6 times 1 is 6, 6 times 2 is 12, 6 times 3 is 18, plus 1 more is 19. We scoot over to our tens digit, so we put a 0 down as a placeholder. 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, and 2 times 3 is 6. We add our partial products. 6, 4, 13, 8. 8,346. If you haven't picked up on this by now, you're going to be doing a lot of multiplication on your multiplying test. So it's really important that you know your multiplication facts. You may not use calculators, and you may not use a multiplication chart on your test. If y'all missed some and you have questions, please email me.